A few weeks ago, I talked about my God tier, the most perfect zero waste brands in my opinion that you can check out right here. But what is the opposite of that? What are my least favorite brands on the face of the planet? Let's talk about it today. Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste and ways that we can all be activists, to include today's topic, voting with your dollar. If you've never heard that term, you can check out this video right here and download my free guide right here on my website. If I talk a little bit too fast for you, there's a gear icon right down here where you can just speed up the video to something that better suits you. So I do have a lot of brands that I refuse to give my money to, but today I'm going to narrow it down to 10 of them. These brands, in my opinion, are the worst brands for the planet. And also they're terrible ethically and for humans. And I worry about human justice as an environmentalist because of the term intersectionality, which you can learn more about down below. And why this matters is because our money has power. When we buy something from a company, we are giving them our money to invest in whatever they want to. Giving money to a wasteful brand is giving them money to invest in polluting the planet, exploiting workers, and causing all sorts of harm around the planet. So let's get into it. Let's spill the tea. First up, hopefully this one does not come as a surprise, that is Amazon. But maybe it's news to you that this company sucks. So here are a few key reasons why I personally ditched Amazon years ago and why they are my #1 suspect for environmental boycotts. First, they normalized 2-day shipping. This form of shipping is extremely unsustainable. It requires more planes over trains and boats, and it also puts more cars and semis on the road every day. This made them steep competition. So now just about every mail carrier does shipping like this at this speed, which has caused the entire online shopping market to become extremely wasteful. Number 2, they are putting small businesses out of business, especially small bookstores, but this is happening in other niches and other fields as well. I learned about this topic in full in this book right here, How to Resist Amazon and Why. But in short, they price books below the market rate. They break rules about book releases, and they own platforms like Audible and Goodreads to further strain the market. And if you're like, who cares that small businesses are going out of business? Well, small businesses are inherently better for the planet than big businesses, and I talk about that in this video. Number 3, their packaging waste. I will admit it has gotten slightly better over the years. Again, this is like from an outsider's point of view because I just don't order there anymore. But even then, I still to this day see stories of small items being packed in really large boxes with plastic envelopes, with plastic pillows, and other sorts of stuff inside the box to protect that small item from getting damaged, when they could just put that small item in a small envelope, in a small box, etc., to reduce packaging. And last but not least, because there is more, very important to me, is the union bust. Of course, this is more ethical than environmental, but it is all connected. And being anti-union really puts a strain on how much people are paid, how many breaks they get, their healthcare, and things like that. I have more reasons about why I personally hate Amazon in this video right here, and if you're interested in breaking up with Amazon, might I recommend checking out my free guide to breaking up with Amazon on my website. So here are a few tips on how you can boycott Amazon as well. Instead of Amazon, shop small. I had a conversation with someone in my life recently who is borderline addicted to Amazon. They asked, what do I do instead of shopping here? This is wild to me, as they are in their 50s and they lived a complete life without Amazon before, but they could not conceptualize a life without it again. So I said, I simply shop small. My local hardware store, my local craft store, my local bookstore, etc. My other tips include deleting the Amazon app off of your phone, deleting it off of your browser. Essentially just make it very hard for you to even navigate to Amazon's website. Delete your Prime account. If you can, delete your account entirely. They make this very difficult. Use your library card to get ebooks and audiobooks instead of using Audible and Kindle. If someone says, hey, it's my birthday, I'm having a baby shower, it's my wedding, here's my Amazon registry, take that Amazon registry to a small store, take that Amazon registry to a thrift store, and get them that gift that they want, but in an eco-friendly way. Moving on to number 2. Big banks. Did you know most big banks will invest your money into fossil fuels and other wasteful industries? Why would they do this? Well, because banks have to make money too. That's how you earn interest on your savings and how they keep the lights on. They make money by investing your money into what will make them the richest the quickest. This may be fossil fuels or other unethical industries like real estate, mining, war, and things of that nature. There's a link in the blog post that covers the 6 most guiltiest banks in this category to learn if your bank is one of these dirty banks, if you will. What can we do about this? Again, we divest. We vote with our dollar. We put our money where we want it to align with our values. And we quit giving these wasteful guys our money to use to destroy the planet. Credit unions are pretty eco-friendly, but there are also dedicated banking options such as GreenFi, which I covered in my first video, my God tier brands. And these services are dedicated to eco-banking. If you want a full video from me on why banks are so unsustainable, let me know. I'm happy to make it in the future when I have some time to do that much research. Well, I'm currently a full-time student. So for now, I highly recommend checking out Gedemira Johansson's video all about this subject. It is tagged down below. Brand number 3 that I hope is maybe not necessarily a shocker to environmentalists, that is Starbucks. Instead, I make my own coffee at home, or I support my local coffee shop and take my reusable cup as well. Once again, shop small. Starbucks has been on my naughty list for a long time for environmental and ethical reasons alike. Not to mention, it's also just not good coffee, it's expensive, and I would rather shop small. For me, again, because ethics and environmental issues issues go hand in hand, their union busting is high on my list of things why I don't like Starbucks. According to Berkeley, Starbucks has more than 400 wrongful labor practices and violations against them. A number of these are anti-union legislation. And again, environmental justice is connected to human justice, which is why I care about this, and I hope that you do too. Another reason that comes back to unions is that the Starbucks union posted about solidarity with Palestine at the beginning of the genocide, and in turn, Starbucks sued the union. So they got quickly lumped into the Palestine BDS movement. Now, they are not a direct target of the Palestine BDS movement if you're interested in that, because the union spoke out in solidarity and the company said, boo, we're suing you. They kind of got lumped into, oh, maybe we shouldn't support Starbucks because they're trying to sue the union for being pro-Palestine. And also recently, I guess this is about a year ago now, Starbucks got a new CEO. And what I'm about to say is probably going to shock you. So if you didn't know, Starbucks was founded and is still headed out of Seattle, and the CEO still lives in Newport Beach, California. That means he commutes to Seattle very frequently, multiple times a week, in a private jet. His commute to work for one day is more emissions than a single person creates in an entire year. So from their promotion of overconsumption to the stores not having access to recycling, the list is long for me to not to support Starbucks, but really it comes down to this is a massive company that does not care about their people, you, or the planet. Once again, I would just simply rather shop small. I would rather give my money to my neighbor, to a literal person. I mean, a CEO is a literal person, but like a person that I see and interact with that will keep my money in my community, than give my money to a CEO who is just going to invest that money into something wasteful, buy themselves another yacht, etc., etc. Okay, next is fast items. And I originally was just gonna say Shein. I was originally just gonna say Temu, but like they're all just so similar, so they're all lumped into one category of fast items. That includes fast fashion, fast tech, fast trinkets. I don't know what else to call them, but they are items that are made at neck-breaking speed, produced to get you the trends as soon as possible. New trends drop every single week. These products are not made to last. They are made with unethical labor. They are destined for the landfill. They are usually toxic. They are usually AI-generated images, and you're not even going to receive what you actually ordered in the picture. There's a whole slew of reasons why I hate fast items from like Temu and Shein and things like that. To be honest, I did shop at Shein once in high school, but once I learned the truth about what fast fashion is, I could not do it anymore. Even as a really new environmentalist, that is not an industry that I feel good about supporting. I have an old video about fast fashion that you can check out down below, and I plan on making a new one later this fall, maybe even early winter, if there's interest in a new video about fast fashion. But in short, fast fashion and fast items in general do nothing but wreak havoc everywhere. From human rights violations to worker exploitation to being one of the worst polluters to their clothing being found to have heavy metals in them and excrete microplastics, fast fashion and fast items are an environmental disaster. And of course, they are not even designed to last, so you can only use them a few times before they fall apart. Temu has also run rampant selling AI art and images. The photo looks like one thing, you order it for $5, you receive something that looks nothing like the photo, and people don't feel bad about spending $5 on garbage because, right, it's just $5. If you do that every single day, that is over $1,800 a year on wasted junk. So if anything, don't do it for the planet, do it for your own sake, do it for your own wallet. And if you need more tips on how you can break up with overconsumption, check out this video right here. We've all been there, especially those of us who are born and raised in the United States. We are born to overconsume because we are a product of the society that we were born into. So it is hard to break up with overconsumption. I understand that. This is not meant to be guilting or shaming anyone. I used to be an overconsumer, right? Like we all used to. It takes time to learn how to break up with it. Use what you already have. Really think through your purchases. Is that something that you actually need or want and will use for a long time? Or is it just trendy? Is it just very clickable, very eye-catching? Anyway, once again, the list is very long with fast fashion, with fast items. In the blog post down below, I have an article linked from earth.org that really explains why fast fashion is so detrimental to the planet. So check that out after this. Okay, number 5, Hobby Lobby. Because once again, I keep repeating myself, I would rather shop small than shop at a mega corporation. Even then, I feel much better about shopping at Michael's or Joann, rip Joann, instead of Hobby Lobby, because Hobby Lobby is really bad. If you don't know the Hobby Lobby tea, let's get into it. Hobby Lobby, it needs a full video on its own, and it's not necessarily a niche that I cover here on my channel, but man, they have had scandal after scandal after scandal, some of them still ongoing. To be clear, a disclaimer moving into this first point, I'm not saying that I personally don't support religious organizations. This is pertinent information as to why Hobby Lobby does the things that they do. Hobby Lobby is owned by the Green family. This family are evangelical Christians, and this family also funds the Museum of the Bible. Weird, but it gets weirder. Hobby Lobby stole over 15,000 cuneiform tablets and bulle, I think is how you pronounce this word right here, from Iraq and Egypt. When these items got to US Customs, there was no history of these items indicating to US Customs that these items were purchased on the black market from Hobby Lobby, to be clear. Okay, maybe not Hobby Lobby, but from the Green family who runs Hobby Lobby. So a full investigation into the company went into effect, and this investigation lasted from 2017 to 2020. Next, Obamacare mandated that employers' medical plans cover contraceptives. Hobby Lobby didn't like this, as a Christian organization. So they denied contraceptives to their employees and filed a lawsuit against the federal government for this. Supreme Court ruled in favor of Hobby Lobby in 2014, and this led to a massive spiral of many faith-based organizations urging the federal government to let them discriminate against queer people. They also do a lot of evangelizing in public schools in Oklahoma, and again, I'm all for freedom of and freedom from religion, but it's just really weird that a CEO of a company is forcing his religion onto certain people. And also during COVID, they never shut down. They couldn't bear to lose money, so they chose the lives of their workers instead. And of course, this is just ethical reasons too. A few environmental reasons why I don't want to support Hobby Lobby is that they sell mass-produced junk, most of which are made out of plastic. They push overconsumption and push people to buy new stuff after new stuff after new stuff every single season, as well as much of this stuff has been flagged as made as AI, and we'll be talking about AI more at the end. Number 6, Coca Cola. They have been proven to be the largest plastic polluter in the world for several years in a row. So it should be clear why environmentalists do not condone what Coca Cola does. And no, I don't just mean this, right? I don't just mean a Coca Cola bottle. I mean this. Coca Cola is another mega corporation. They own more than 200 brands around the world. And here's a full list of other major polluters if you want to avoid even more. Nestle, Unilever, PepsiCo, Mondelez International, Mars Inc., Procter & Gamble, Danone, Altria, and British American Tobacco. These major brands own other major brands that own slightly smaller brands. These brands all pollute physically, invisibly, and buy up the entire market so that we have no choice but to buy them. No choice but to buy from these wasteful companies. So while you're walking the stores of your traditional stores like Walmart and Target, both of which I also like to boycott, you'll end up supporting one of these brands, one of these mega corporations, one of these massive polluters, one way or another, unknowingly. I mean, yes, knowingly because it's usually on the back of the container, but like you have to actually really look and seek out, is this owned by Coca-Cola? Is this owned by PepsiCo? Is this owned by Unilever? So once again, it is just another reason to shop small. All right, number 7. This one makes me sad and also might be a little controversial. This is REI. Now, I would love to go back to REI if they make amends, but currently as it sits, I do not want to give my money and my time to REI. As they have gotten bigger, as they have changed ownership, they too have been partaking in good old union busting. They have been accused of unfair labor practices and have not formally recognized the union, though there is one. This has gotten worse over the last year or so. Not only that, but if you didn't know, just this January, when President Trump was inaugurated, he appointed Doug Burgum to be the head of the Department of the Interior. The DOI is who is in charge of our national parks, our other public lands, and things like that, and Burgum is a big climate denier, as well as a big fan of fossil fuels, and he has waged war on public lands from illegally firing employees to opening mines and bringing back deforestation. Early in the Trump 2.0 administration, REI leadership made a post early on supporting Burgum. This caused huge backlash and quite frankly was a last straw for many of us, to include myself. So thankfully, I don't even have an REI near me, so I'm not really tempted to like go into an REI and shop there for my outdoorsy needs. So instead, I head to my local gear store. Or if you don't have a local gear store near you, take those brands that you normally buy at REI, like Darn Tough for example, and just buy directly from Darn Tough instead of buying from REI your Darn Tough socks, for example. Another wild one. I've got some hot takes in here, I think. Number 8 is Meta. I know, this one's crazy. I'm a content creator. This is how I make my money. This is my livelihood. So don't get me wrong, I still use Meta. I still use Instagram and Facebook and Messenger. And also WhatsApp is owned by Meta. Oh, they own everything. I still create my own content. I still consume content on these platforms. First, trying to be meaningful with my scrolling and scrolling as little as possible and doing other stuff with my life like reading a book, doing a hobby, taking a walk, etc. And number 2, I refuse to give Meta my money. They are already taking my time. They are already collecting my data. And as a tech giant that wants to gobble up every platform that it can to become a tech monopoly, I don't want to support that as much as I possibly can. Not to mention, Mark Zuckerberg is not a great guy, and you can learn more about him and why he sucks in this book right here, The End of Reality. So for me, I had 2 last straw moments in which I was like, they are not getting a cent from me. First, being that Meta used to pay its creators really well. It was actually how I made most of my ad revenue back when they used to pay. Now this has been several years. So they quickly took that away. At the same time in which they took away paying their creators, they initiated a payment plan in order to be verified on the app. Zuckerberg took after Elon Musk like he did with Twitter. So not only was Meta asking me for $15 a month to simply have a blue check mark, they also took away a good chunk of my paycheck. Not only that, I think my final last straw was shortly after Trump took office, Mark Zuckerberg announced that all of his platforms would no longer fact check. And therefore, you could also not report content for being inaccurate, for being false information. Insane. Social media is already a breeding ground for misinformation, and this will help spread it like wildfire. This, paired with his desire to buy TikTok, just put an even worse taste in my mouth. Plus, they are continuing to normalize the use of AI. So let me know how you feel about this down below, especially as a content creator. Like, all of these tech platforms that I use to make my livelihood, none of them are great. TikTok is not great. Google is not great, who owns YouTube. None of them are great. So it all really does suck. I still like to use my platform to use social media for good, to educate, to inspire, inspire to take action, but it just sucks that in the process, I do have to give my time, money, and resources to these wasteful companies. Okay, number 9, kind of similar to that, big tech companies. I have quit streaming. Honestly, as I was writing this post, I was so tempted to like buy a subscription for a streaming platform because I wanted to watch a musical. But then I remembered I have a free library card. No, I couldn't find the musical at my library, but I can watch endless other TV shows and DVDs and movies through my library for free. Yes, I may have to wait, but I'll just practice my patience. We have gotten so used to getting precisely what we want in an instant, once again, thanks to Amazon. So it's good to practice your patience. Plus, when there's, dozens of streaming platforms out there and they're all charging $10 to $15 a month, this really adds up in price. And streaming is actually quite wasteful for the environment. Getting Mary Johansson did another great video about this as well that I will try to find and leave tagged down below. So if you already have a DVD or you can find a DVD secondhand, that takes very little energy to watch. As opposed to streaming, it takes the energy in your home and it takes the energy at a data center to provide that movie or that TV show for you. So if I do stream, don't tell them. I share passwords. Because honestly, these companies don't care about me. They don't care about ethics. They don't care about the environment. So why should I care about them? Why should I care about giving them $10? And if you're going to stream, I'm not saying you have to give up streaming just because I don't like streaming. Stream mindfully at the very least. Don't like put it on in the background while you're also scrolling your phone or while you're also reading a book or things like that. Actually watch the show, watch the movie, and actually tune into it. And while we're on the subject of libraries, you can use your libraries for so much more than just books. You can do arts and crafts, you can borrow games, you can borrow sewing machines, and so much more. I love libraries. Library is not a brand, but it is on my god tier of like eco things. Libraries are so eco, they are so economical. Please get a library card and use it. Number 10, I'm sure you probably predicted this one. That is just simply any mega corporation. I know, once again, I'm kind of reaching for brand number 10. This is kind of my sneaky way of including more than 10 brands in this list. Shopping small is better for the planet. On this list, I have included a few specific mega corporations, but truly just in general, I refuse to give my money to a mega corporation if I can absolutely help it. Like a few that I can't help but give my money to, gas stations, I have to get around. But as far as I possibly can, not a cent goes to mega corporations. And here's a recent example. One of my favorite deodorant brands, Wild, was just acquired by Unilever earlier this year. Without a hesitation, I said I am never buying that deodorant again. It's not that hard to give it up. Yes, even if you are absolutely in love with that product, yes, even if they pay you a commission to sell their product, they were paying me. I was an affiliate with them to sell their product. I said, I am not going to promote them anymore. I am not personally going to buy them anymore because I want to give my money to a small business, not a wasteful giant that pollutes the planet. Because remember, Unilever is on that list of top polluters. And Unilever is also known, and they have been known for decades now, for their unethical practices. So I did not hesitate to take them off my suggested brands list and start shopping from other brands like Meow Meow Tweet and Sustain Yourself, who are truly small businesses. Here are a few other zero waste swaps that are owned by mega corporations, which makes me very sad, but just the truth of it. And if you want a full video on this topic about like brands that are owned by mega corporations and who I shop from instead, I'm happy to make a video about that if there's interest. But anyway, the brands are Tom's of Maine, Burt's Bees, Stasher Bag, Love Beauty and Planet, Thinks, Modi Body, and NYX. Those ones are really surprising to me. 7th Generation, and more. So this is why doing your research into who actually owns a brand is so important. Vote with your dollar, because it is truly just so easy to give up spending money on that brand when you learn that they are unethical and unsustainable. Please find something else, especially because you might find something else cheaper and better quality anyway. I know I said 10, but let me give you a bonus one because I mentioned it several times throughout this video, and that is AI. Of course, AI is not really something that you can purchase, but I boycott it by not giving it my time as much as I physically can. Of course, it is so intrinsically linked to our lives that it's very hard to avoid. Like when you search something on Instagram or Google, you're using AI because they have put AI into their search engines, and that's just how they work now. Same with, I use Grammarly because I get it free from school, and Grammarly runs off of AI, and honestly, it really sucks. I've gotten some horrible suggestions from their AI. As someone with a degree in linguistics, it really irks me. But as far as I possibly can, I don't use AI. I don't seek out ChatGPT. I don't even have the ChatGPT app. I don't buy AI art. If I see AI art being sold on things like Etsy, I flag it and things like that. Now, why would I do this? Why do I care about AI as an environmentalist? Because AI is quickly becoming one of the worst polluters in the planet. I talk more about AI and its environmental impact in full in this video, but in short, as I said, it is one of the biggest polluters in the world and users of water in the world. And it is predicted to be the biggest user of energy and water in the world in just a few years, and I don't want to support that. Nor do I want to support generative AI, which is known to steal art. From writing to drawings to crochet and everything in between, AI combs the internet, steals ideas, and spits out slop. AI art is not art. I can and will absolutely rant more about AI if you want me to, but again, I already have a video on it that you can check out above and below. I've got my top 10 brands and now my top 10 worst brands and entities on the planet planet. Of course, there's more. Like, I'm also very anti-animal agriculture. I am very anti-air travel and things like that. Of course, this was just 10 of them. I could make 10 more. I could probably make 100 more videos in this series. There are so many brands that I loathe. Let me know what brands you hate down below, and let me know if you want more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I really appreciate your time. I will see you in the next video, but until then, remember that your small actions make a big difference in the long run. Bye, guys. Speaking of small businesses, shout out time. This is from Reworked by Sav, fully upcycled, fully secondhand. Love this so much. And then my earrings are also small business, beadwork by Audrey. Love her stuff. Small business, indigenous owned. Bye. So I said I simply shop small.